have two childhood sweethearts I grew up with. One is pursuing her graduate degree at Ling'er University, living a quiet, celibate life. She does not even come home once a year. The other was promised to me in an arranged childhood engagement before she was even born. Ever since I was young, I knew she would be my future wife. So I always did everything I could to protect her. But I never expected it to become a burden to her. Today, she finally lost her temper. During a family dinner, our parents brought up our engagement. Ruyan slammed the table and rose to her feet. Pointing at me, she shouted, "This is all your fault. You follow me around all day. Talking to you does no good, and neither does yelling at you. You just keep shamelessly clinging to me. You make everyone misunderstand. Stay away from me from now on. You are driving me crazy." I stood there stupidly, frozen. Half the shrimp I was about to place on her plate slipped from my chopsticks and fell to the floor. Her words were cruel. It was no different from publicly accusing me of imagining feelings that were never there. Under everyone's gaze, my face went pale. Something seemed lodged in my throat, choking me with pain. For a full 18 years, we had been inseparable. I had given her every bit of my affection. Yet all I received was her calling me shamelessly clingy. And in front of so many people, she ground my pride and dignity into the dirt. My parents' faces turned livid. They probably never expected the girl they had watched grow up would treat their son this way in public. Ruyan's father was the first to react. He quickly rebuked her. "Ruyan, how can you speak like that?" Ruyan frowned and shouted, "Why can I not speak? To me, he is just the boy next door, like an older brother. I will never marry him. I do not like him at all. I will date and marry someone I actually love. You have no right to arrange my marriage for me." With that, she threw down her chopsticks and started to leave. Uncle Liu glanced at my parents, then at me, standing humiliated beside the table. Furious, he caught up to her into strides and slapped Ruyan across the face. The sharp crack rang out. It made my whole body flinch. It was the first time I had ever seen Uncle Liu hit her. Instinctively, I rushed over to help her up, but she violently shoved me away. I staggered backwards several steps. Her eyes red-rimmed. She stared at me. Through clenched teeth, she said, "Are you happy now?" My eyes widened at once. Seeing her wipe away tears and prepare to leave, I grabbed her arm. "What do you mean by that? Explain yourself." The only thing in her eyes as she looked at me was disgust. "You have the nerve to ask me to explain. If you had not shamelessly followed me around every day, would they keep trying to pair us together? I have never liked you. Will you stop being so full of yourself? Qingfeng, I am begging you. Please, just let me go." I was stunned by her words. At last, swallowing my humiliation, I spoke solemnly. "Ruyan, I am sorry. I will never forget what you said. I, Jiang Qingfeng, swear here and now that I will never bother Ruyan again." From that day on, I did not say a single word to her. The next day at school, she and I were like strangers. I entered the classroom first, and Ruyan came in after me. Before, she was always ahead of me, with me following behind. Now, I was ahead, and she followed behind. Our classmates had always loved teasing us. They said Ruyan and I were a pair of lovebirds, never seen apart. When they saw us arrive one after the other, several classmates joked, "Here come our lovebirds." They had said the same thing before. Back then, it only made me happy. Now, the words had not changed, but how I felt about them had changed completely. I instinctively turned to look at Ruyan. With a cold expression, she walked to her seat and sat down. She took out an exercise book and began working. Seeing how cold she looked, my chest ached as if pierced by needles. "Some words cannot be taken back once spoken. Since you want to cut ties with me, then I will help you do it." After setting my backpack by my seat, I stepped up to the podium and faced the class. For the first time, I clarified my relationship with her. "Hey, Ruyan and I are neighbors who live across from each other. We go to and from school together, only because our homes are close." I guess that gave everyone the wrong idea. Other than being neighbors, Ruyan and I are nothing to each other. Please do not make wild guesses, and do not joke about us anymore. Thank you. As I stepped down from the podium, I saw the confused, astonished looks in my classmates' eyes. As I passed Ruyan, I noticed her expression had grown even grimmer. None of my classmates believed what I had said from the podium. After all, for more than 10 years, we had always been inseparable. They all decided we were just a young couple having a spat, and that things would return to normal once we made up. Our third class that afternoon was physical education. As seniors, we spent every day buried in textbooks and practice books. We were all exhausted, seeing stars and barely able to stay awake. Our homeroom teacher was afraid we would sink into depression. So, whenever we had physical education, she sent us all out to the field to exercise and clear our heads. I was playing basketball on the court. About 20 minutes later, a female classmate suddenly ran onto the court and cried anxiously, "Qingfeng, Qingfeng, Liu Ruyan fell while running in class. She is hurt and bleeding badly. Hurry and go see her." The moment I heard she was hurt, panic rushed to my head. I took off running for the field. Maybe after more than 10 years, I had grown used to following her around like a pathetic lapdog. So, whenever I heard anything about her, I still wanted to rush to her side. A crowd had gathered in the middle of the field. A classmate shouted, "Move aside. Jiang Qingfeng is here." When the others heard I had arrived, they made a clear path just for me. Liu Ruyan suddenly lifted her head and looked over at me from afar. An unreadable emotion flickered through her clear eyes. She looked so fragile and pitiful, just as I instinctively reached out to check on her. I snapped back to my senses the next second. I pressed my lips together and said, "Help her to the nurse's office and have her injury treated." After leaving those words behind, I turned and walked away without hesitation. My departure took everyone by surprise. The moment I left, they launched into heated discussion. There was every kind of speculation. I pretended not to hear any of it. I did not stop walking, and I did not look back. And so, we treated each other like ordinary classmates for over half a month. I was a little lonely, but more than anything, I felt free and unburdened. One night after evening study hall, I was walking home alone. Liu Ruyan emerged from the other side of a corner and stopped in front of me. I did not want anything more to do with her. I stepped to the right, trying to leave, but unexpectedly, she moved with me, blocking my path again. I was getting irritated, but I tried to keep my gaze calm and detached. "Do you need something?" Liu Ruyan answered evenly. "Can I wait for you unless I need something? Did we not go home together every day before?" I smiled calmly. "If there is nothing else, I will be going. Goodbye." I stepped aside again, intending to leave. She quickly grabbed my left arm. "Qingfeng, what are you doing? Do you really have to take it this far?" I glanced at her. "Please move aside. I am going home." Liu Ruyan glared at me through gritted teeth. "Jiang Qingfeng, what exactly do you want? Are you trying to never speak to me again?" I only said a few harsh things. "Do you really have to hold on to them for so long? Since when did you become so petty? If you want to draw a line between us, why not just move away? Wouldn't that make the break cleaner?" I nodded calmly. "Yes, my dad is already looking at houses, but buying a new home is a big decision. I am afraid it cannot be settled overnight. I will urge my dad again when I get home. Do not worry. Even if I cannot move right away, I will not bother you again. You really are ruthless." Liu Ruyan's face darkened. She stared at me for a long while. Once she was sure I was not speaking in anger, she spat those 3 words, then turned and left without looking back. After that, our families mostly resumed normal contact, though things were not as warm as before. But a barrier always stood between Liu Ruyan and me. New Year's Day arrived. My mom had planned to celebrate at home, but Auntie Liu and Uncle Liu repeatedly invited us over. My parents tried every excuse to decline, but eventually had no choice but to agree. I did not plan to go. I intended to stay home all day and study, but Liu Ruyan came to see herself. "Qingfeng, I actually came to apologize. I was wrong that day. I should not have said those things to you. Even though I do not like you, I have never hated you. No matter what happens in the future, I will always treat you like a good older brother." I turned and looked at her coldly. So, Qingfeng, we should still go to and from school together. Otherwise, my mom and your mom will worry about us." I clenched my teeth. Her apology was nothing but reopening my wounds. She would have been better off saying nothing. I had only just managed to forget a little, and she had come to remind me all over again. After the college entrance exams, the burden I had carried for over a decade suddenly disappeared. Feeling completely relieved, I slept for 2 straight days. On the 4th day after the exams, Liu Ruyan came to my house to see me. The moment I opened the door, she gave me a sweet smile. "Our sleepyhead is finally awake." There was a teasing note in her voice. As she spoke, she moved closer, then casually sat beside me on the couch. I did not know how long it had been, but we had always kept things cool and distant. Her sudden closeness now felt strange to me. I instinctively shifted away from her. Liu Ruyan looked at me with blazing eyes. "Qingfeng, How did you do on the exams? There was an excitement in her voice that I did not understand. I turned away and answered flatly. I did all right. Then I fiddled with a small ornament on the table, putting more distance between us. Perhaps sensing my coldness, Ruyan leaned in closer. Qingfeng, tell me the truth. Are you still angry with me? I looked up at her in confusion. Ruyan watched me for a moment, then smiled helplessly. Qingfeng, let us go to the same university. We can still go to and from school together. That way. I immediately cut her off. I have not decided which university to apply to yet. Ruyan pouted. That conversation ended without resolution. She had not gotten my final answer, and she left looking disappointed. That evening at dinner time, Ruyan came by again. She carried 2 steaming plates of dumplings. Annie, the chive and egg dumplings just came out of the pot. They smell wonderful. My mom remembered that Qingfeng likes them. Please eat them while they are hot. My mom accepted the dumplings with a smile. After seeing Ruyan out, my mom brought up university applications again at dinner. Xiaofeng, it would be better if you applied to the same university as Ruyan. No matter what, you grew up together. You know each other well, and you can look out for one another. I did not answer. I had long since made up my own mind. The day we returned to school after the exams to check our answers, I saw Ruyan pull a boy into a corner. It was Huai, the transfer student from the class next door. I had seen Ruyan walking with him several times before. They said they would apply to the same university. Huai wanted to be her knight, to protect Ruyan forever. I gave them a detached glance, then turned and walked away. For 18 years, I had given all my feelings to Ruyan. From now on, I wanted to be myself, so I would not attend the same university as them. On the day we submitted our applications, Ruyan finished choosing her schools, then ran excitedly into my room. Qingfeng, have you chosen your schools? I glanced at her and replied, I have. Ruyan immediately lit up. Was it Jiang University? I heard Jiang University is accepting more students this year. Your grades will definitely get you in. Instead of answering, I asked, is Huai going to Jiang University too? Though I already knew the answer, I still asked. I clung to that almost non-existent chance. Ruyan paused, then gave a small, gentle smile. Yes, he said he wants to go to Jiang University with me. I lowered my eyes, hiding the ache in my chest. Ruyan's smile slowly faded. She stared at the false smile on my face. Qingfeng, thank you. And I am sorry. She had apologized too many times. But those weightless words could never heal the wounds in my heart. I gave a faint smile. In the final minute before I clicked confirm, I changed the university from Jiang University to Lin University, a prestigious school in the north. I was not going to Jiang University. Lin University was the best choice for me. The day our admission letters arrived, Ruyan rushed to my home with her admission letter. She insisted on seeing mine. Qingfeng, bring out your admission letter. Let me admire it. Here is mine. You should look at it too. I calmly placed my admission letter in her hand. She stared at the university's name, and her eyes widened in shock. Ruyan was shocked and taken by surprise. I had always done as she wished since we were children. She had apparently never expected that in something as important as university applications, I would make a decision against her wishes. Perhaps she had not realized yet that I was no longer the person I used to be. Ruyan looked at me in disbelief. Qingfeng, why? There seemed to be a trace of hurt in her eyes. I smiled faintly. My teacher said Lin University's Chinese painting program suits me better. After saying that, I did not look into her eyes again, nor did I look to see her expression after hearing my answer. Ruyan looked saddened. She leaned closer, bringing her face very near mine. Qingfeng, look at me. Are you still dwelling on what I said that day? Have you been blaming me for not forgiving you? I was talking nonsense that day. Can you please forget it? At that, my heart clenched. I cannot forget. You hurt me too deeply. How could I not care? How could I simply forget? Losing love was painful enough. I could not lose my dignity too. With that thought, I smiled faintly. Looking at her, I said, I forgot how I felt that day a long time ago. Ruyan's expression darkened. She pressed her lips together, then turned and left. I did not understand. I had already gone this far. What more could she possibly be unhappy about? That night, after my admission letter arrived, my mom tearfully asked whether I wanted to repeat my final year of high school, then apply to Jiang University next year. Or at the very least, I could attend that top university in the city. It would be closer, making it easier for them to look after me, and they would not have to worry about me day and night. I understood my mom's good intentions. But what about mine? I wanted to forget her and make a fresh start. I needed an environment where I could let her go. I said nothing. I only looked at my mom with pleading eyes. Lin University is very good. Its Chinese painting program is even more renowned than Jiang University's. Study hard once you get there. Try to get into a combined master's and doctoral program. Your father and I will retire in a few years. If you want to stay there, we will buy you a place after you graduate. Your father and I will move there to be with you. My dad patted my mom. Do not cry. Isn't Liu Ling'er there? She can look out for Qingfeng there. Feeling my parents' care and love, the sadness and reluctance buried in my heart gradually faded. Back then, I had only one thought: to get away from Ruyan. When I chose my university, I only followed my own wishes. I completely forgot Uncle Liu had another daughter. She was studying for her master's degree at the Lin University I had chosen. Perhaps some things are meant to be. After all those twists and turns, I was still going to live near the Lias. Fortunately, it would no longer be Liu Ruyan. It would be Liu Ling'er, who had always loved me like a younger brother. Liu Ruyan checked in at university a day before I did. I wanted badly to see her off. But when I thought of the things she had said, I could not bring myself to step outside. I could only watch her secretly through the peephole. Liu Ruyan stood there with her suitcase. She waited outside my door for a full 2 minutes. Only when Uncle Liu urged her did she finally leave. From the other side of the door, I watched her walk farther and farther from home, step by step out of my world. In the end, she and I went our separate ways. My love for her would remain forever unspoken. University life was demanding and busy. Whenever I had free time, I often wondered what Liu Ruyan was doing. What was she doing right then? Did she ever think of me? Since the day I was born, I had never been apart from her for so long. I was not used to it. There was always an emptiness inside me. To distract myself, I joined several clubs. Whenever I had time, I volunteered. I kept myself spinning like a top. I was exhausted to the bone every day. The moment I climbed into bed, I fell asleep. After we each arrived at university, we stayed in touch. Liu Ruyan would message me on WeChat to ask how I was doing and ask me to send her some photos. I tried hard to restrain my feelings. Every reply I sent was brief and detached. As for the photos she wanted, I did not understand. Did she want photos of me or of my university? I figured the latter was more likely. So I took plenty of photos that captured the local culture and sent them to her. Later, we stopped talking much. Often, we would not exchange a word for 10 days or even half a month. She had the boy she liked by her side. I did not want to cause a misunderstanding, nor did I want my personal feelings to affect her life. So no matter how much I missed her, I held myself back. I never once messaged her first. As winter break approached, she messaged me once. She asked when I was coming home. Holding my phone, I stared at those simple words for a long time. After a long while, I typed out a reply. I have not decided yet. Besides, we are not heading the same way. Do not worry about me. That afternoon, Liu Ruyan posted on WeChat moments. It only said, "We are going home." Below it were the photos. One showed a booking confirmation for the plane tickets. The other showed the hands clasped together. My heart hurt terribly. So I took my suitcase and headed home alone. Winter break was longer at northern universities. I could comfortably stay curled up at home a few extra days and eat my mom's cooking every day. That was what I dreamed of most while at school. Liu Ruyan came home a few days before me. After I got back, she would occasionally come sit at my place for a while and chat with me. Every time, she came in smiling brightly, telling me strange and amusing stories from school. I told her about the huge, fluffy snowflakes in the north and the long, straight icicles hanging from the eaves. Most of the time, she listened quietly. Occasionally, a faint smile touched her lips. Sometimes she reminded me to stay warm and not catch a cold. Other times, she would say, "You are all alone there. Take good care of yourself." Everything she did and said, I took as a younger sister caring for her older brother. I did not dare read more into it, or truly take her words to heart. After all, I still had to live my life on my own. Everything else was beside the point. One day, she came in. I had both legs propped on the coffee table, devouring a watermelon, with watermelon juice splattered everywhere. She rolled her eyes at me, then fetched a wet towel from the bathroom and tossed it to me. Her tone was full of disgust. "Look at you. You have no manners when you eat. What girl would ever want to date you?" A sharp pain suddenly pierced my heart. Was that why you trampled my feelings like they were trash? Why you tore me down so cruelly? Liu Ruyan, Please stay away from me. I am begging you. When the Lunar New Year came, our families celebrated together, just as we always had. Uncle Liu had dragged my family of 3 over to his house early that morning. Paper-cut decorations covered the windows, and delicate colored lights hung from the balcony. The firecrackers popping outside from time to time made the festive atmosphere even richer. I had nothing to do. Several times I tried to go home and hide in my little room, but Aunt Liu stopped me every time. She told me to go to Liu Ryan's room and spend time with her. I did not go. Instead, I curled up alone in the corner of the sofa, scrolling through my phone. What had happened was like a sharp blade, hanging over my head at every moment. I did not dare forget it, even for a moment. Liu Ryan had apologized for it, but I could not get past the barrier in my own heart. I did not know whether I was being too petty. I only knew this. A long scar across my heart was still bleeding. Then my phone was suddenly snatched away. I jumped in fright. I was still watching my enemy. Liu Ryan braced one hand on the sofa arm beside me, while holding my phone up before her eyes with the other. She stared at my screen. I reached for my phone. Give it back. Quick as lightning, she jerked her hand back. She made a face at me, then turned and ran off. Want your phone? Come get it from my room. I did not want to go to her room, much less chase after her. But then I remembered that on my phone, I had saved so many photos of her. If she saw them, she would surely get the wrong idea again. So I had no choice but to get up and ask her for it. When I got there, she was already sitting by the table. Come in. We can watch it together. She smiled happily, her eyes glittering like starlight. From the doorway, I called. I am not coming in. Bring it out to me. Too scared to come in? Oh, Qingfeng, why have you become so thin-skinned? I looked at her and said flatly, if you like the anime, go ahead and watch it. I can watch television instead. With that, I turned to leave. She called after me unhappily. You are not really this petty, are you? Can you not even take a joke? You really are just as petty as Huai. Here, take it. It is not like I wanted to watch it anyway. She tossed my phone to me. I hurriedly caught it. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught the anger on her face. That angry expression gave me a headache. Suddenly, I did not know how to be around her anymore. Once my phone was back in my hand, I had no desire to keep watching the anime. Instead, I kept dwelling on what she had just said. Who was this him she meant? Liu Ryan had always been different. She did not like associating with boys. I was the only exception by her side. There was no need to think about it. That him was Huai. Once I understood, I opened my photo album and deleted the photos I had collected over the years, one by one. Close to 9 o'clock, Ling'er called on video. We chatted cheerfully for quite a while. Then Aunt Liu called out to me, Qingfeng, come quick. Your sister Ling'er is calling on video. She wants to talk to you. I sat down. On the phone screen, Ling'er watched me quietly, with a hint of amusement in her eyes. Qingfeng, I have been on a field sketching trip with Professor Jia. I was not able to pick you up. How have you been? Are things going well at school? I smiled, nodded, and said, pretty good. After more than a year apart, Sister Ling'er had grown even more mature and captivating. Her starlit eyes shimmered like rippling water. Liu Ryan was already beautiful, but Ling'er was even more striking. Concern laced Ling'er's rich, elegant voice. Are you not used to the food there? Why have you lost so much weight? I shook my head. Not at all. I actually like northern cuisine, especially sweet and sour crispy pork. My eager expression must have amused Sister Ling'er. Her delicate brows relaxed as a broad smile bloomed across her face, full of affection. I will be back around March or April. Then I will treat you to sweet and sour crispy pork. Sister Ling'er's call brought me so much joy that Lunar New Year's Eve. Happy days never last long. Before long, it was time to return to school. Under my mom's and Aunt Liu's forceful intervention, Liu Ryan and I booked flights for the same day. When we arrived at the airport, Huai stood by the roadside, waiting with a smile. Free from her parents' watchful eyes, Liu Ryan became lively again. She happily ran over and threw herself into Huai's arms. For people in love, one day apart truly feels like 3 years. I turned away, refusing to watch. I carried my luggage into the terminal alone. This semester's workload was much heavier than the last. I shut out every distracting thought and threw myself into my studies. Gradually, I found peace in my heart. I entered a competition organized by my department. My result was unexpectedly near the top, causing a stir throughout the department. The professor greatly admired my painting. She asked me to paint a freehand flower and bird piece based on my own interpretation. She said that if I did well, she would take it to an art exhibition for display and accept me as her graduate student. This professor held an exceptionally high status in the world of traditional Chinese painting. To receive her personal guidance in painting was the greatest dream a student could have. It took me more than a month to finally complete the painting. When I nervously handed it to the professor, she was in a video conference with someone. I was just about to step back, but Professor Jia beckoned me inside. She picked up my painting and held it up to the screen, asking the people on the other end to critique it one by one. Only after the meeting ended did I learn that they were students from the professor's institute. She was remotely guiding their research. Without question, my painting received glowing praise again. The professor asked me to add one of the girls on the call on WeChat. She said our paintings had different strengths and could complement each other. She told me to discuss traditional Chinese painting with her more often. Professor, I already have his WeChat. A pleasant, mature female voice reached my ears. It was very familiar. Professor Jia looked puzzled. You know each other. The professor held the phone out to me. The moment I saw her, I smiled. It was Sister Ling'er. She was smiling at me from the other end of the call. He is my younger brother. Be good. Focus on your classes. I will be back soon. I will treat you to something delicious. Sister Ling'er's smile was gentle and as doting toward me as ever. Professor Jia praised my talent to everyone she met. In her words, I became a rare genius. Almost overnight, I became a celebrity in my department and across the entire school. I rose into the top 3 on the school's popularity rankings. Even my photo was put up on the main bulletin board, so most of the school came to recognize me. After that, more and more people came to me for paintings. Some were paid commissions, others were not. I was busy all day long, and my mood gradually brightened. Sister Ling'er was 3 years older than me. Before, I had always doted on Ruyan in every possible way, while I was the one receiving Ling'er's care. I did not know much about her, but now that we spent more time in touch, I discovered she was actually a very interesting person. Every few days, Ling'er would discuss traditional Chinese painting techniques with me. She would share some of her experience with me. Sometimes she would send me her paintings for us to admire together. Whenever I hit a creative wall, I would ask her for advice. She always gave me the most sensible advice, and I benefited greatly from it. Because our interests were so alike, we got along wonderfully in conversation, and being around her felt especially easy. Whenever I could spare a little time, I would check my social media feed to test my emotional endurance. Ruyan had shed her former coldness. She showed off her happy life almost every day. One day, it was drinks for 2. The next, it was a hand-in-hand date. In short, the Lovey-Dovey post never stopped. They left me choking, my throat dry with bitterness. I wanted to sweeten the bitterness with the sweet and sour crispy pork Sister Ling'er had promised me, but Sister Ling'er's return kept getting delayed, so I had it twice with my roommates. Summer break came soon enough. Ruyan did not contact me, and I did not disturb her either. Once again, I set off for home alone with my bag on my back. I thought I had grown used to life without her. My flight took off at night. It was just after 6 in the morning when I got home. I had no time to talk to my parents. After a quick shower, I collapsed into bed to catch up on sleep. When I woke from a mess of chaotic dreams, it was already noon. My mom was bringing the prepared dishes to the table. When she saw I was awake, she waved me over to eat. I looked at my mom and said, "Mom, I want cold mixed noodles tonight." My mom shook her head. Another day. Aunt Liu is treating us to dinner out tonight. Dinner was at the new private dining restaurant on the corner. Because I arrived late, there was only one empty seat left when I entered the private room. Before I could sit down, Ruyan spoke. "Brother Qingfeng, you are the last one here. The whole family has been waiting for you." I raised my eyes, about to speak, when someone's gaze stabbed into my eyes like a sharp knife, hurting so badly I could barely breathe. After nearly half a year apart, he had grown much more mature. His eyes brimmed with tenderness that would not fade. With a shy smile, Ruyan leaned against Huai's arm. Huai held her hand. They were so intimate, there was not a sliver of space between them. My eyes hurt so much. My heart hurt even more. She had brought him home to meet the parents. All those memories I alone shared with Ruyan came to an abrupt end at that moment. They no longer had any reason to exist. For a moment, I was lost and at a complete loss. Aunt Liu warmly called to me. "Qingfeng, sit down. What would you like to eat? Annie will order it for you." In a daze, I took my seat. Directly across from me sat that sweetly entwined couple. At that moment, I truly wanted to gouge out my own eyes. Ruyan looked at Song Huai with such sweetness and tenderness. This is Jiang Qingfeng, the neighbor boy I always tell you about. Brother Qingfeng. This is my boyfriend, Song Huai. Of course I knew him. He was in the same year as us, a transfer student from out of town, and without a doubt, the school's heartthrob. His gentleness and sensitivity were the complete opposite of my carefree, blunt personality. Girls probably all liked that type. I nodded slightly. Hi. Uncle and Aunt Liu knew about Song Huai's family situation. They were very unhappy about it. Once dinner began, they kept piling food onto my plate, while completely ignoring Song Huai. Song Huai looked awkward and helpless. Ruyan kept quietly comforting him. My parents could not say much, since it was a private matter for the Liu family. As for me, from the moment the dishes arrived, I focused solely on eating. When I was nearly finished, I put down my chopsticks and went out to a small terrace for some air. I did not want to watch them flaunt their love. Before long, I heard light, uneven footsteps. They stopped outside the terrace, not wanting to be discovered. I silently shifted farther inward. Then Aunt Liu's voice rang out. Yan, what is so good about that Song Huai? Why are you so devoted to him? After college, you will need to pass a political background check to work at a stay-at-home company. Would his family background even pass? How could he possibly measure up to Qingfeng in any way? Why must you choose him? My heart skipped a beat. I desperately wanted to leave. After all, this was the Liu family's business. As an outsider, I should not know too much. Unfortunately, the terrace was a dead end. There was no way out. Ruyan clearly loved Song Huai deeply. She lowered her voice and argued with Aunt Liu, regardless of everything else. Song Huai stood helplessly to one side, watching everything unfold. Though he wore a smile, yet somehow his smile carried a trace of humility. For one brief moment, I actually felt sorry for him. What had he really done wrong? What did his parents' affairs have to do with him? He had only met a girl he liked, and the mess between Ruyan and me really had nothing to do with either of them. More than that, neither Ruyan nor Song Huai had done anything wrong. They only wanted to live the lives they chose. I could not help giving a self-mocking smile. Why could I find excuses for everyone and call them blameless, yet could not save myself? Outside, Ruyan clearly could no longer control her emotions. Her voice rose again and again. Mom, can you think about what I want for once? The person I love is Song Huai. No matter how good Jiang Qingfeng is, he is only a neighbor. At most, he is like an older brother next door. I do not like him. I do not like him now, and I never will. I did not want to listen any longer. After 19 years, I was once again rejected so mercilessly. Aunt Liu's face went pale with anger. She raised her hand to strike her. I stepped out onto the terrace and grabbed Aunt Liu's arm. Aunt Liu's expression changed instantly. The guilt in her eyes was like an ocean about to drown me. Ruyan turned to look at me. Her gaze was cold. I did not know where that coldness in her eyes came from, or why she directed it at me. I gave a self-mocking smile. Then I patted Aunt Liu's hand. Annie, I do not like Ruyan. She does not like me either. We could never be together. Besides, I already have someone I like. We are doing very well. After saying that, I instinctively looked out at the sky. At this point, this excuse was all I had left to protect my dignity. When the people in the private room saw we had not returned for a long time, they all came out to find us. They were all standing at the door, and that last lie I told was heard by every one of them. Everyone stared at me, their faces full of shock. That night, I lay awake in bed for hours. The pain in my chest kept spreading. Near dawn, Ruyan sent me a WeChat message. Do you really have a girlfriend? Who is she? I stared at my phone screen, without blinking, for a long time. Then I muted my phone and tossed it to the foot of the bed without replying. The next morning, with huge dark circles under my eyes, I asked several high school classmates to go hiking. After what happened yesterday, I really did not want to see Ruyan, but our homes were too close together. The only way to avoid her was to get out of the house. Once I got ready and opened my front door, just then, Ruyan had Song Huai on her arm as they opened the door and put on their shoes. I gave them a brief greeting, with no intention of saying more. Then Ruyan spoke. Come on. I call the car. I froze for a moment. You two are going to. Ruyan eyed me sideways, her eyes brimming with mockery. What else? Were we supposed to let you go off and have fun alone? My heart went ice cold. Why did they have to tag along on a hike? Could they not give me a little peace? But I had organized the outing, so I could not back out halfway through. Several classmates gathered at the foot of the mountain. They were all friends I was close with. It was our first get-together since summer break began. Friendship between guys was simple and pure. We threw our arms around each other's shoulders, laughing and shouting with pure joy. They all knew about the mess between Ruyan and me. They used to joke that she and I were the perfect couple. In everyone's eyes, I was supposed to be with Ruyan. But Ruyan was holding another guy's hand right in front of me. They could not make sense of it. They kept shooting me meaningful looks. Everyone was dying for gossip. All I could do was smile bitterly and say, Ruyan, you should introduce your boyfriend to everyone. My high school classmate, Qingfeng, was always blunt. He bellowed at the top of his lungs. When did Ryan get a boyfriend? My feelings for Ruyan were something these guys knew all too well. They also knew about the time she publicly humiliated me. They had all witnessed it. They had even cursed Ruyan out for days afterward. Qingfeng was fiercely protective of his own. He was probably trying to stand up for me in his own way. I smiled bitterly, helplessly. This guy really knew how to bring up the one thing he should not. Ruyan was clearly displeased. Qingfeng kept needling her. Weren't you too? Before he could finish, Chenyu, beside him, covered his mouth. What nonsense are you talking about? Get hiking. Hiking took real stamina. By the time we reached halfway up, every one of us was exhausted. We sat in the shade to rest and cool off. They gathered around me, all wanting to speak, but holding back. Their struggle to speak without hurting me was both funny and heartwarming. Thank goodness they were here today. Otherwise, Ruyan would have put me through hell. I looked seriously at my friends and said, I will say this only once. No one is allowed to ask about it again. That childhood betrothal was just a joke between our elders. She has always seen me as her brother. I was the one who misunderstood. Huai is the one she likes. Hearing that, Qingfeng looked at me and asked, Qingfeng, do not tell us your feelings for her were not real. I shook my head helplessly. You cannot force love. If you cannot stand seeing me single, maybe you have some female cousins, and you can introduce them to me. Chenyu spoke up at that. It must hurt, right? I turned to look at a little daisy blooming in the distance. Only after a long time did I answer. It will pass. Everyone sighed. They all remarked on how quickly things could change. Then they excitedly declared, when we get back, we will cast a wide net. We will find Qingfeng a girlfriend 100 times better than Ruyan. I could not argue with them. So I had let them carry on. After we finally made it to the summit, the guys noisily insisted on getting frozen treats from the only shop. I spotted Ruyan and Huai, who had reached the top before us. They were holding a box of raspberries, feeding each other one by one on a bench beneath a tree. I did not want to torture my eyes, so I turned and headed the other way. Qingfeng walked beside me, muttering under his breath, Ruyan is heartless and blind. She will regret it someday. Huai is clearly not as simple as he looks. With your naive personality, you are no match for him. Qingfeng looked thoroughly indignant. After he finished his rant, I finally told him, Ruyan and I are long over. Do not bring it up again. Qingfeng gritted his teeth and berated me for being useless. He was bitterly disappointed in me. Then Chenyu called. He said that over there, they've found a peach tree growing from a cliff, laden with fruit. He told us to come take a look. A peach tree growing from a cliff was rare. Qingfeng and I hurried over. On the sunlit eastern slope, there truly was a massive peach tree. It jutted diagonally from the cliff face. A peach branch looked very close to me, as though I could reach it if I stretched out my hand. Feeling playful, I climbed onto the railing. Ignoring my friend's attempts to stop me, I reached for a jutting peach branch. Whether it was just my rotten luck, or the railing had fallen into disrepair over the years, it could not bear my weight. A wave of dizziness hit me, and I plunged headfirst downward.